The king hero emerged from the darkness. His face was not clearly visible, armed with a sword. He took his time approaching the young man. His opponent came closer, his face illuminated, wearing a clown mask. His rival remarked that the king hero did not even seem surprised to see him. The young man drew his sword, and his opponent also had a sword. The young man attacked, and the clown did the same. The young man thought that the clown before him was fake. This opponent was just like him, so he had to be dealt with in a special way. The king hero thought that he fought such deceptions every season, but he still didn't feel comfortable with them. Our hero activated the Seraphim Shield. This shield was supposed to successfully deflect the enemy's attacks. The system confirmed successful activation. The king hero thought he could solve the problem by summoning his secret pet to help him, Darky. The system reported that summoning familiars was prohibited in this area. The young man realized that this trick wouldn't work. It was actually quite simple. Kang Yusung, as usual in this battle, deceived the fake opponent and thrust his sword side to side. The bleeding clown asked why the young man was so serious. After all, nothing prevented the protagonist from becoming a true villain or hero in this battle. In this case, everyone was free to decide for themselves. The clown added that you didn't need to worry too much because nothing could be taken seriously in this world in the end. As in all previous seasons, the protagonist fought with a sword against the scarred clown. Kang Yusung said that he knew a magic trick that could make the annoying clown shut up. The young man ripped off his opponent's mask with a skillful hand movement. By doing so, his opponent became disarmed and disabled. This mystical enemy flew into the air and disappeared. This was the outcome determined by the system. Kang Yusung put the mask on his scarred face. He looked like the same clown, but only in reality. Instead of a cheerful clown, our hero turned into a clown of sorrow. The young man asked who else he had to deal with. An image of the main rival appeared before the young man. He was once again called our hero with 1,000 faces and 1 talent. Tuan Park ran into the city hospital room. He saw Kang Yusung lying on the bed with bandages. The young man was connected to an IV. The young man was looking at the game information at that moment while keeping the screen away. The young man said that finally Tuan Park had come. When the man saw that the young man was conscious and even tried to joke, he relaxed and smiled. Kang Yusung asked why he hadn't brought a gift. Tuan Park said that if the boy was joking, he must be feeling very well and should probably get up now. Tuan Park said that the young man should stop pretending. It was time for him to return to keeping the peace in the world. After all, he was the king hero. The boy asked if the old man really wanted him to go to work with a hole in his chest. Tuan Park confidently stated that the young man drank the healing potion and used his healing abilities. Kang Yusung agreed and said that despite the appearance, the wound was still unusual. Tuan Park remarked that it was not surprising, as the ruler was quite strange, so the awakening must proceed as usual. The young man said that it was not actually that severe, even smiling. The awakening was available starting from level 50, having a different appearance depending on its ruler in this case. The young man was rewarded for overcoming himself after completing the previous level. The system rewarded the hero with a bonus, which was a unique talent. In other words, everything the young man had up to that point was doubled. In other words, he became twice as strong. Kang Yusung said that he had gotten everything he wanted, so he felt very good and asked what the next mission was. Tuan Park said it was the same as usual, which was to find the villain and teach him a lesson. True villains are rare these days. Maybe a serial pyromaniac or a dark player. The serial pyromaniac observed his creation from behind a barrier, swinging his wand as if conducting an orchestra. The man could hear the screams of the suffering citizens, and it was intoxicating music to him. The burning villain considered himself an esteemed teacher and said he would show humanity the way with his extraordinary art. The fire master decided to drown the world in flames and wanted the fire to spread everywhere. The system reported that the fire ruler was very pleased and gave a generous reward to Baek Dong-soo. The fire demon reported that as usual, only the fire ruler understood his art. Armed police officers were already near the demon. The man looked around and saw the police, stating that those armed fools had come back to chase him. The armed police and knights with swords could not find the villain. It seemed the villain had entered the tower. There was no information about this tower yet. As expected, the Hero King appeared and said that this tower was a level 4 arena. This tower had a limit on the number of players, making it very difficult to complete. The objective of this raid was to defeat the villain. A player had already entered the tower. The young man saw the burning city. He had to enter quickly as time was running out. A player who had already entered the tower was not a hero. The city's residents, mourning during the fire, thought this demon was drowning the world in flames. Kang Yusung thought that the current villain was not an ordinary psychopath. Our hero would soon enter the tower. Inside the tower, in the central arena, was the fire master with his wand. The crazed audience cheered and clapped. A strange figure appeared in the arena near the master. The fire demon wondered what kind of fool dared to enter here. The villain saw the Hero King and asked, "Is it really him?" The protagonist said that it was indeed him and he would stop the madman. The Fire Master told the Hero King that someone like him could understand this form of art. The Hero King said that the mad creator was in front of him. The young man said that he didn't understand why this world was full of such madmen. The villain asked why his opponent dared to demean this art by considering it some kind of commodity. The Fire Master raised his hand to the sky and said that now everyone would see his fire. The villain had a special ability called the Inferno Orchestra. The villain summoned musical instruments one by one, and at the same time, fire emerged from each instrument, aimed at the protagonist. The young man could barely dodge the fire attacks. The person said that the uniqueness of the creators was that they acted alone, appearing out of nowhere, which was why they were called psychopaths. The young man looked up and saw a large column of fire. When about to defeat the villain, the Hero King sensed the impending danger and managed to avoid it using his ice sword. The young man approached the blazing demon and stated that it wasn't enough to catch him. He decided that it was time to end the day. The Fire Master was more cunning in this battle, using musical symbols to strike his opponent. The young man found himself in the center of the fire, completely engulfed by flames. The villain said that he couldn't believe it, creating a masterpiece starring the Hero King. Suddenly, a young man appeared out of nowhere, swinging his sword, but the villain dodged at the last moment. The master was shocked. The young man said that there was a shadow of himself in the fire, it was an illusion. The bleeding fire demon was surprised that the illusion couldn't speak. The person with the sword in front of him said that he wasn't good at explaining all the details to his opponent. Kang and Song said that now he would gather the entire room for his opponent. The protagonist used the legendary ability, Oculus, which allowed him to manipulate his opponent and make an unspecified number of people see his target. The Hero King said that this would be the Fire Master's final performance on his deathbed. The villain said that his art would not perish and activated an additional option. The Fire Master exploded in bright flames, and the system reported that the protagonist had won the duel. The objective was achieved, and 2 exits from the raid were offered. At one of the exits, players couldn't kill other players inside the tower. The person thought that he had to finish him off at least at the exit. The system transported the main villain to France, to Calais. The protagonist decided that the villain would meet a sudden death in France. The Hero King saw the villain when he was on the roof of Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris and said that he knew he would find him there. The young man jumped from the roof, hoping to reach his opponent faster. In an incredible leap, the Hero King reached the villain and punished him with his ice sword. The achievement was accomplished. Suddenly, a group of young girls appeared in front of the protagonist. The leader of these girls extended her hand and decided to communicate with the young man. The girl said that Mr. Kang Yusung must immediately drop his weapon. It was her firm order. The young man asked the girl what brought her here and why she was so strict with him. The leader of the women's group was Saint Maria Jeger, the head of the Rescue Knights Guild, always known for her integrity. The girl said that the French government had requested their cooperation in investigating the black player who had been eagerly awaited since they were informed that the exit from the tower led here. The young man smiled as usual and asked his interlocutor to help him make a hole in the arsonist's belly. The girl said that she couldn't let the Hero King destroy the person. Saint Maria Jeger said that killing during an arrest was only allowed under certain circumstances. The Hero King commented that the girl spoke like a true saint. The young man apologized and said that the girl was a saint. Maria replied that revenge begets revenge. Ms. Jeger added that the fact that the villain behaved like a monster didn't mean he should be treated as one. Kang Yusung responded that destroying the black player wasn't a bad thing. The girl stated that she wasn't saying that for his own good but for the sake of justice. Maria Jeger added that such actions could have global consequences and the value system might need to be reviewed. The Fire Master, who had been inside the barrier all this time, tried to attack the young man with his magic wand. Something didn't go well, the attack inside the barrier didn't penetrate it. Saint Maria Jeger once again asserted that she was trying to protect the Hero King. How could they not understand that? The young men turned their attention to the fact that the teacher had finally been deactivated. He had done it himself. The girl said that the culprit had been caught and that was the end of the incident. He would be taken to the appropriate place. The young man could return and rest. Kang Yusung stopped arguing and said that if his interlocutor asked him, he would comply humbly. The young man turned and left. As he was leaving, he said that he had wasted his time coming here. The Hero King decided to try using his Darkling one last time. The girl knew his plan and told him not to try it. John replied that it was expected. He decided to try it just in case. A woman from the Secret Service stood in front of the young man. The system reported that the hero's provocation had surged. A young man was in Paris in the middle of the town square with his hands raised. He had been captured by girls under the command of Saint Maria Jeger. The system reported that the ruling clown had become hysterical. The young man with his hands raised said that many people had died because of that madman. The Hero King said that he could not forgive this, he had no reason to. The young man told his interlocutor that the black players were destroying the world faster than the tower. Did he really disagree? The young man added that it didn't mean anyone who put a hole in the monster's belly would become the monster themselves. Maria Jeger approached the Hero King and told Yusun that he was not a monster. Her eyes spoke louder than words. K-Young moved the phone away from his ear. The interlocutor shouted very loudly and said that he did not care at all about the young man's humanity. The Hero King himself said that he was not a psychopathic killer. The young man said that his ears were about to fall off. Mr. Park asked him to destroy that enemy. He did it. What's the problem now? Mr. Park said that he didn't ask to kill the criminals in public. The Hero King had overstepped his authority. The French government begged Mr. Park to withdraw this yawn. Mr. Park said there was a plane ticket for tomorrow night, so the young man should return. The young man said he had other things to do. Mr. Park asked what other trouble he would get into. If he did something, he might not return. The young man said that he had a personal life and he would explain everything later. The young man thanked Mr. Park for his help and ended the conversation. He was already tired of his interlocutor's morality. Yan said that he owed him, and it was the least he could do, and he saw no reason to refuse. Mary Yer smiled and said that she was glad to hear that. The young man sat on the sofa and felt at home. The girl got up from the sofa and said that she suggested meeting him tomorrow morning in Paris. The young man was somewhat offended and said that the girl was good at setting boundaries on what was allowed. Maria Jeger quietly prepared to leave with Kang Yusung. She asked if there was anything he wanted to say as a farewell. The girl turned around. She glanced mischievously and wished the young man good night. The young man thought it would be better to fly back tonight. As she was leaving through the door, the girl stopped and wondered if she should have asked for that favor. Her face showed embarrassment. The War Tower of Revolution Level 6. A revolution war and confrontation between systems awaited the hero. The shop was unavailable. The attack's goal was to complete the scenario. The young man was on the train with the civilians. Looking out, he brought out his ice shield and defended against the enemy's attack. In response, the young man fought back by throwing ice balls. On this train, besides the civilians, there was Saint Maria Jeger with the young man. The young man said that there was a bridge ahead of them and suggested stopping the pursuers there. Maria Jeger agreed. The mission's goal was to protect the nobles of the king's faction from the revolutionary army. After the train crossed the bridge, Maria Jeger jumped and destroyed the bridge over the river behind them. The young man remained on the side of the pursuers. The train with the nobles was on the safe side. The young men drew their weapons and prepared to face their opponents. The young man said that they could move forward. The commander of the pursuers ordered his troops to stop shooting and asked the guests what they were doing here. The revolutionary asked, had they never fought before? The guests fought for the spirit of the new world. The commander shouted that only thanks to the return of their saint could they win. Why did the girl refuse to fight for a just cause? Saint Maria Jeger remained silent, closing her eyes. The revolutionary continued to ask why the girl sided with the corrupt royal nobles and asked the saint to return on behalf of the revolution. They didn't want to fight against the saint. Kang Yusung asked his opponent, did they really need his help with this? The young man asked another question, wasn't this the girl's first world? How much had she hidden from him? Maria replied that this was the first time she had entered this tower through the lower level towers. The girl added that she did not hesitate to fight alongside the revolutionaries. Freedom, equality, unity, these slogans were very dear to her. To the young man, the slogans of the Great Revolution sounded similar. The Hero King added that those who believed they were fighting for a just cause had now become his enemies. Therefore, he felt very likely to be a hypocrite. Maria Jeger, thinking to herself, said that access to the tower was limited. Thinking of the future, they had to win to reach the 6th level of the tower and clear it because if no one was on their side, they would remain on the 5th level, said Kang Yusung. So they would do what had to be done. They had to go to the 6th level. The girl smiled sweetly and thanked the young man for now being on her side. The negotiation process took a long time. It was starting to get dark in the city. The young man lit a candle and illuminated himself and his companion. The revolutionary was still waiting for an answer on how to treat the guests. At one point, the Hero King threw an ice ball at the revolutionary leader. The captain was paralyzed for a while. The rebels were anxious. Kang Yusung, while continuing to attack the revolutionaries, asked who was now considered the enemy. The Hero King said that this was his last warning. The bridge had been destroyed, which is why he offered to retreat. They didn't want to spill more blood. The rebel said that he could not retreat, even if he died. The revolutionary captain stood up. He donned his armor and said that if he were to die, he would die fighting according to the captain's orders. All the rebels put on their armor. The commander warned that they would use magic. The captain stated that they were acting in this case to protect freedom and equality. All the knights used their energy cannons. The rebels approached our heroes, the density of attacks increased, and the destructive power of the enemy's weapons escalated. The system reported that player Maria used the effect of Deep Conviction. Maria used the Seraphim defense effect. The girl continued to spend her hard-earned victories. Saint Maria Jejer reversed the opponents. The system reported that the blessing effect of the holy armor had increased by 1%. The Hero King was shocked to realize that everything around him slowed down. The system reported that the blessing characteristics increased by 1000% when the saint fought alongside the protagonist Kang Yusung. Kang Yusung kept a close watch on Saint Maria Jejer's active combat actions. At this rate, the girl behaved heroically. Saint Maria Jejer shouted to Kang Yusung to stay out of the battle, she would handle everything herself. Suddenly, everything went dark, as if someone had turned off the lights with a switch. The girl was slightly confused and called out to her companion, but Kang Yusung did not answer. The young man began to fight actively in total darkness. He could distinguish his opponents quite well. The young man wielded his war sword and took down the knights one by one. He thought that the 6th level would be much more difficult. He realized that he had never thought before that one day he would have to fight in total darkness at this level of the tower. The Hero King told the saint to activate her shield immediately. The girl heard Yan's voice and was very excited, saying to lift the curtain of absolute darkness, otherwise she wouldn't be able to fight. The young man replied that the girl did not need to fight, her presence alone increased the characteristics of all effects. The young man fought against the enemy while riding his Darkling. He warned that in this combat mode, experience points would still be evenly divided, so Maria would not lose anything. The Hero King said that in this particular battle, even in total darkness, the girl gave him invaluable support and he was very grateful for it. After the battle ended, the surroundings became brighter. The young man said that everything was over. The girl saw the dead knights and her companion riding a large beast. The battle ended in total defeat for the revolutionaries. The mission requirements had been met and it made sense to return. The cat approached the girl. The young man extended his hand and told her to hold it. He said that it wasn't over, they had to reach the Fat King. Saint Maria Jejer thought that it was still possible to get some bonuses for the upcoming battle. The young man told his still hesitant companion that she had to realize that everything would be in vain if the city where the Fat King had fled fell. The girl climbed onto Darky's back. The cat transformed into a transport animal and began to swim. Maria Jejer said that the young man did not need to do that. He replied that it would be fun. He added that there might not be another chance with the type of amplification the saint created. He himself would destroy all the villains. The girl said she didn't ask him about that. Just in case, she held her companion even tighter. The cat crossed the river to the other side of the bridge and continued on land. In front of them, the city was burning. The young people decided that they were already inside. The city welcomed our heroes with burning buildings and screaming people. Everything was engulfed in chaos. The rebels ran everywhere, shouting that they had to destroy the enemies of the revolution. The rebel said it was an order from the Iron Blood Duke to cut down all supporters of the old system, without mercy towards anyone. Kang Yusung and Saint Maria Jejer found themselves in a burning city. Fire was everywhere, and there were no living souls. Anarchy and chaos were rampant. The girl was shocked. She couldn't understand how such a thing could happen in Duke City. Maria Jejer, impressed by what she saw, asked why the revolutionaries didn't spare the innocent. The young man said that this was how any ideology worked, the same would happen to the city's inhabitants they left behind. The young men blocked the road. They were the personal guards of the Iron Blood Duke, the Iron Blood soldiers. The Hero King remarked that it was quite ironic, now they were no longer revolutionaries fighting for a just cause but rather ordinary murderers. Minutes later, everything changed. The young man snapped his fingers and said, "Darken." Shortly after, the system reported that the Revolution Tower had been cleared. The faction of nobles had achieved remarkable victories in several battles under the Iron Blood Duke's regime. An era with a strict moral code had arrived. The hero managed to achieve a feat by clearing the tower on the 6th level. Journalists asked the weary Saint Maria Jejer to recount the raid with the Hero King. The girl stated that they acted for the security of all countries in the world. The young man said that it was a hot night in every sense. The girl looked at the Hero King sharply. The young man smiled and said, "What else can a man and a woman do alone in a tower at night?" He formed a heart with his hands. An angry Maria Jejer shouted that it was not what they thought at all. The young man wondered what he had said. After all, it was the girl herself who had said she was glad they were alone. Journalists and photographers observed the scene with interest. The young men were finalizing their relationship. The Hero King tried to joke, while Maria Jejer tried to cover his mouth. The system reported that the protagonist's level of provocation had increased surprisingly. The clown monk lay on the ground clutching his stomach. Saint Maria Jejer was almost in tears from the injustice. The young man connected after this show. He received a bonus for his behavior. The protagonists fled from the journalists by hiding in a car, each reading messages on their phone. After all that was written, the young man stated that it was too late to say they were just friends. The next mission was to enter the Tower of the Ice Dead. Kang Yusung and Maria Jejer acted together again. The young man, seeing what awaited them, told Saint Maria that he was sorry. The girl looked at him with wide eyes and asked what exactly the young man she loved wanted to say. The Hero King said what he could use but didn't have time to finish his sentence. The girl quickly drew her sword and told the young man to move aside. The saint prepared to parry the attack. The girl said that she needed to cool down. Shortly after the hot night, the young man was surprised by the resilience and spirit of his partner. Before he could blink, the system showed that the ice tower had been cleared. After that, the two heroes successfully carried out joint attacks for a month. The system reported that the heroes had cleared the Remarkable Defense Tower, the Tomb Raider Tower, the Monster Hunter Tower, the Sandhell Tower, and the Spider Queen Tower. The young people parted ways at the airport building. The girl wished Kang Yusung good luck. The young man turned around. He asked if lovers didn't give farewell kisses. Maria said that she was very jealous of Yusung. The girl asked how Yusung could be so careless. The boy replied that he took it as a compliment. The girl agreed that in his case, it was a compliment. Maria Jeger stated that she was very happy to have a reliable player. The boy smiled and replied that those were his words and told the girl that they would meet again. Maria Jeger waved at the young man and told him to be careful on his way home. The support group continued to follow their leader. The young man turned around. The girl thanked him again for his help and the time they had spent together. Maria also thanked the young man for all he had done for the world. Humanity would not forget him. The people on the plane thought that working together was much more efficient. However, national interests always came first, and no one could be trusted. The young man thought he should invite Santo to visit him sometime soon. Dark asked how long his master would scratch his back. Kang Yusung wondered if a cat could really talk. Darky said he had evolved. The young man asked why the cat had just started talking now. The cat replied that he was tired of his master flirting with that woman. He offered the young man to open the set of cards that had been given as a gift. Kang Yusung was glad that the cat remembered this. He opened the cards and said, "Not bad if you fear the level of a hero." The young man added that if the cards gave so much, once opened, everything would become unbeatable. Kang Yusung decided to open a series of unclaimed gifts and awaited the results impatiently. In this game, synergy and class were the most important. The young man obtained the Steel Synergy. That class had never been given before. The system reported that the hero had acquired the Shadow Assassin class. The young man was very happy. This should increase his chances of surviving in future battles. While falling asleep, the young man thought that when he got home, he should climb the tower and test his new abilities. The cat wished him sweet dreams. In the city, the young man was once again surrounded by reporters wondering what the Hero King was doing in that place. Kang Yusung entered the club. The reporters wondered what the Hero King was doing there during the day. The Hero King approached a young man and attacked him, asking why the man hadn't counted the time from the clock they had agreed upon to meet at 9 a.m. The man said he felt very bad last night because he had drunk a lot. Kang Yusung said he counted to 3. No one had ever made him so nervous. The young man ordered the man to follow him, otherwise they would have another conversation. The young man was angry. How could someone like Kang Yusung give orders to him? Didn't he know who his father was? The young man jumped up and said that his father was the president of a large and powerful company. Kang Yusung should have known who he was talking to. Kang Yusung placed a hand on his opponent's head and said that in this case, he was the youngest disappointment of his ancestors. Kang Yusung dragged the man out of the club by his hair and said that everyone should step aside because the Hero King was coming. The people around observed this scene in silence. Kang Yusung said he wanted to test his new skills and there was a case. The man thought that he should have already hired one of the players. He thought this would be a little different. The man said that it was the end. Kang Yusung brought a promising rookie who awakened this season. The Hero King said he couldn't believe this person was a promising rookie. It was said that he had successfully conquered the level 3 tower. The young man caught up and said he had completely forgotten about it. After all, the Hero King was here to guide him to the level 4 tower for free. The newcomer said he was already tired after the level 3 tower. Kang Yusung was surprised by this person's skills and personality. At the entrance to the level 4 tower, the massacre, Kang Yusung and a newcomer wearing knight armor stood at the entrance. Our hero said he was first interested in the rookie's skills. He wanted to see what he could do. The newcomer looked confused. A group of armed thugs appeared in the tower, glaring at the heroes. One of the thugs said that fresh meat had arrived. The newcomer told the Hero King to stop messing around and deal with the thugs. The Hero King replied that he did not take advice from those weaker than him. The frightened knight said that if something happened to him, the Hero King would also be in trouble. The man tried to avoid direct confrontation with the thugs. The Hero King observed the knight's behavior and thought that this person had very cool weapons but didn't know how to use them. He still had to learn. Kang Yusung thought that those who didn't know how to fight would have a sad end. The knight ran around the room, begging to be saved. Kang Yusung thought who would save the world in this case. The young man activated the Shadow Clone technique. This ability could control shadows from a chosen reality with a time limit of 1 minute. Our hero said that the best teacher is practice. Darky appeared and helped do all the dirty work. The villains were harshly disabled. The young man looked up and saw a hole in the ceiling. From there, vampires and bats started flying out. The Hero King had activated the blood launcher technique. This allowed him to summon bloodthirsty spirits. The spirits that appeared immediately began slaughtering the bats using their blood as nourishment. Kang Yusung asked his companion if it was time to change pants. The young man told the Hero King to watch his mouth, or he would complain to his father. The Hero King placed the young man in front of him and said he would not be mean to him. He was just giving extra motivation to succeed to a good boy like him.